Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our podcast, Tax Stuff You Should Know. It's actually our maiden voyage here, our very first podcast. I'm here with my esteemed colleague and partner, Gene Magadenko. Gene, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay, Bob. Doing
Great.
okay. Yeah, that was a good intro.
Terrific. Glad you liked it. And my name is Bob Pluth. I'm a partner with Aaron Fox Schiff, based out of our Chicago office. Been with the firm since 1981, the predecessor firm, Schiff Hardin LLP, and co-lead the firm's tax practice, along with our partner and colleague, Jeff Tate, who is based out of our DC office. My practice is basically providing tax and business advice to high net worth individuals, family offices, entrepreneurs and their businesses, and representing those taxpayers as well in federal and state tax controversy matters. Gene, why don't you give us a bit of your background as well?
Certainly, Bob. I'm a tax partner at Aaron Fox Schiff as well, based in sunny Michigan. Well, sunny for now until we get into the winter, but we'll take our waning days of summer and fall while we can. My tax practice is pretty broad, ranging from any matters involving U.S. domestic to international, tax and corporate counseling, extending to tax controversies as well, transactional tax, basically anything touching tax, whatever comes to mind. You name it, I do it on a day-to-day basis. And one of the other hats I wear at our firm is that of the Corporate Transparency Act Task Force team head. So, we do advise on various CTA matters, and I kind of stepped into it perhaps a little bit by accident, but it's perhaps a little bit tax adjacent as well. And at some point we may do a podcast on that, kind of looking forward towards the subsequent months. But I think today we have a different topic that's near and dear to our hearts, Bob.
Okay, great. So here's a preliminary question for those of you that have found us, whether it is by design or by mistake. Why are we doing this and why should you listen? Over many years of practice, there are a number of sort of common issues that arise for our clients and our partners, our non-tax partners, for example. Various opportunities and pitfalls that present themselves in the tax area. And what we're hoping to do here is to present those in a straightforward, no tax code, no regs kind of way that is understandable and useful for folks in the real world and in business. There are plenty of podcasts out there for tax professionals. This isn't really the audience we're aiming for here, but it's rather to break these topics down in a way that is useful for our non-tax listeners, if you will. And as I said, we're going to try to keep out all the technical jargon and just kind of get to the essence of these things. Given the firm's practice, the breadth of our practice and resources, we also plan to have guests on the podcast from time to time. Colleagues of ours who practice in other specialty areas of the law that impact tax and tax planning. For example, our government relations colleagues who can speak to likely or pending tax legislation, particularly after the November elections, which are quickly coming up, and colleagues who represent folks in connection with criminal tax matters and investigations as well. So there's a fairly broad net we hope to cast here, and we think you'll find it interesting. We plan to have the podcast run for 20 to 30 minutes each. We also plan to publish on a bi-weekly basis. We want to give you a little sense of what your committing to here, and we hope to keep it short but informative from our end. Uh, let me just add, Gene, did I miss anything? Is there anything you'd like to add to that so that our listeners have a better sense of what we're all about here?
Well, I think, Bob, you and I were talking about setting up some sort of a penalty game anytime someone cites a code section on this podcast. So we'll keep you, the listeners, apprised of what we end up settling on. But our commitment is to keep the technical jargon, as Bob said, to a minimum. Perhaps unavoidable to mention some code sections. So likely we'll only be slightly inebriated and not totally. And not totally beyond the point of audible recognition here, but I think that would be the idea. Is again just to keep things accessible and understandable, and try to keep it maybe to only a couple code section references per episode if possible.
Terrific. The last thing that I would just mention, just to sort of set the table here, is you can reach us by email. The email address is all lowercase, taxstuff, TAXSTUFF, at afslaw.com. So we would appreciate you reaching out if there are particular topics that you'd like to hear about, or if you've got any feedback or follow-up questions that you might have in connection with a particular episode that we do. We look forward to getting any kind of feedback that you'd like to send. We'd appreciate that. So, looking forward to our next episode, our first substantive episode that should be released in the next 2 weeks. We want to cover the assignment of income doctrine, which is kind of an interesting common law doctrine that comes up in all sorts of ways in the tax world, but it has come up particularly so with some frequency here in the context of charitable giving, not just any charitable giving, but the situation, very common one in which a closely held business owner, let's say, is thinking about perhaps selling his or her business, but would like to make a charitable contribution of business interest beforehand. We think you'll find that interesting, and it certainly is timely. So we'll look forward to having you guys join us for that, and appreciate your interest in the podcast.